I'm Lucy Dinwiddie. I am the Chief Learning Officer of Bechtel. Bechtel is a engineering, construction, and procurement company. We build projects, we build capital assets across the world, and I am the Chief Learning Officer, really responsible for the learning of our organization. We build roads, we build airports, we build mines, we build power plants, we build metro systems, and much of our work is done by a craft worker. This is the person you see out there, digging, laying cement, doing the piping, the wiring. And these workers, if you think about it, a project starts, you build it, you close down. You may never have those workers again. So we really said, how do we up the skills of our foremen? These are the craft workers who are supervising the crews to really ensure that they are skilled in leadership. They manage over $2 million a year in asset, that they have the mindset of a small business officer or a business owner. And that is what we were working on. How do we up the skills of someone who you may or may not think to invest in? When a foreman leaves a construction site, they actually take 70% of their crew with them. So we really partnered with Texas A&M University to say, where is construction going? We partnered with the union force, which is working with craft workers, to say, what do you know about a craft worker? We actually brought in our learners who were foremen, many of them never finishing high school, and we said, how do you best learn? What are the things you need to know? And we brought them together and we said, we really need to focus on the learner and teach people the way they need to be taught, which was not what we were doing. As we built this foreman development program, we actually took about 60 hours of what I would say was disparate learning. So for example, the quality person came in and, they almost in an evangelical way talked about the importance of safety but very much auditory learners. And then one day someone would come in and talk about project scheduling. And what we really did was we took actually over 60 hours, turned it into a more cohesive program around 40 hours where we had horizontal threads. And then we really brought in actually a craft worker to be the teacher. Some of the things we found in terms of metrics, and we had impressive metrics, is first at the end of the project, we actually had the very first project where we did the foreman development program. We actually had 60% of foremen leave that site and find another Bechtel site. And remember, they bring their crews with them. We actually, by giving the more responsibility to them, our foreman said, actually during the craft training, here's something that's not working and we have an idea of what would make it work. So we had them partner with Quality Six Sigma, and we actually found that we probably had over $10 million in saving by a solution that our field engineer would never have thought of, but was right there with our foreman. We've actually found that safety, and you measure safety in the opposite way. You actually measure incidents, that has gone down in the places we're working with this. And so we're actually finding, lots of metrics, but I would say the one that is most important is our foremen really feel invested in a way that they were not before. In one of my focus groups, we actually use iPads in our training, and one of our foremen was talking to me literally with tears in his eyes, and he said, I've never graduated from high school. I've been working on crews since I was 14 years old. And he said, my children kind of thought of me as dumb. And he said, I remember when I came home and at the kitchen table, I said to my kids and my wife, hey, I went to class today and we're using iPads. And then he got all teary-eyed and he said, and I might get teary-eyed too. And he said, for the first time, I think my kids saw me as smart and somebody that's invested in. So, and I'm sorry about the tears, but we really have worked hard to work with a very important part of our workforce and really work to create development that for them was not painful, but really development that they helped us craft, they helped us bring together, and really honored them as who they are and what they bring to the company. Rolling ahead to 2017, first off, we continue to work with our foreman development program and really work to get it as much as we can across the world in our project sites. So right now we're building a metro in Riyadh, and at that site we have 31 different countries that have brought craft workers together, and there's 9 spoken languages. So it's one thing to say, how do you do a foreman development program in the United States on the Gulf Coast region, and how do you make that program work in a multinational workforce? So we're looking at that. And then also in kind of the salaried or non-manual or professional world, we're really looking at how do we increase feedback, and increasing feedback in a real-time way where people know how to give both positive and constructive or insights into people, and also help people to understand, what do I do with feedback? How do I receive it? How do I act on it? And that's something that we're working on right now with our professional workforce, but I'm sure it's just going to be right there in our foreman program before we know it.